Richard Dodd joins me live now, and thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. And I just want to start by asking you, getting your thoughts, your reaction to, well, the remarkable scenes that we've seen right across London, and if anything, the violence seems to be spreading.
We absolutely deplore what's been going on, of course. And, you know, if you remember, it seems like an age ago now. But a couple of days ago, some people were suggesting that the inspiration for all of this was some sort of local economic or community grievances. I think it was always very, very clear that torching shops was no answer to those sorts of problems if those problems are real. Actually, all that will do is undermine the communities that very much depend on those retailers in terms of the services and the jobs that they provide. But I think we've gone well beyond that now over the last 24 hours or so. This is just people indulging in criminal activity because they see an opportunity to get some new trainers or a DVD player without paying for it. And that's something that everybody, I think, has to condemn. And actually, I think the vast majority of people do.
So then what is behind the violence?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask the people who are indulging in this. What we're slightly reassured by today is a real sense that the vast majority of people are completely disgusted by this and are not prepared to see anybody trying to justify it. And actually, there are quite a number of people are getting involved in a practical way in helping those retailers to sweep up and clean up and in some instances board up and perhaps get back trading in whatever form they can as quickly as they can. There's certainly a real determination amongst many of the retailers to do that as well. Although, of course, there'll certainly be others who were eking out a pretty marginal existence already who will find it very, very difficult to re-establish themselves now.
Yeah, I mean, this comes at a time when the high street, the British high street, is coming under increasing pressure, doesn't it? We've seen shops and businesses being set alight, but it's not just the physical damage, it's also the impact that this is going to have on consumer confidence and consumer spending going forward. It really doesn't help an already fragile economic situation, does it? No,
I mean, this clearly is not going to improve confidence. Actually, as it happens, we've got some retail sales figures out today which show that in cash terms, spending is a shade up on a year ago and actually improved slightly in July compared with the previous month. But nevertheless, in terms of how much people are actually buying, volumes are down on 12 months ago. And that's a result of all the pressures on household budgets that we know about. Clearly, this isn't going to make people feel any better or any more inclined to go out and shop. And of course, what it will do, remember how important London retailing is to the overall UK economy and to the UK-wide retailing figures. It's about 20% of UK retailing. It's very dependent on spending by overseas visitors and spending by people who come to London from other parts of the UK. And of course, they will certainly be put off by the scenes that they're seeing.
Yeah, and you mentioned retail sales. Volume is down compared to a few months ago. Already a tough situation that we're in. You know, as consumers are already suffering from a situation where we have high unemployment, VAT, sales tax is also on the rise. Assuming that this violence continues, and I mean, it has been escalating, it has been spreading to some of the larger cities in the country, it's not just confined to London, could it have a pretty significant impact on retail sales in the medium to long-term future?
I'd like to assume that it's going to stop right here and that this will be an end of it. And certainly that's what we want to see happen. I think what retailers are concerned about today is to get assurances that there are adequate resources for police forces, particularly the Met, but others involved too, and for fire services, reassurances that there'll be proper prosecutions of the people who are involved in this activity, which certainly hasn't always been the case with protests aimed at retailers in the past, and also that retailers will be given all the information and advice that they need on securing their properties and preparing their properties, including intelligence-led advice, so that they can do all they can to make sure that the impact on them isn't any greater than it has been already.
I mean, just to be clear about this, some shops and businesses have had to close. Many will suffer a loss as a result of this. But, I mean, will anything be done to help them going forward? I mean, British Prime Minister David Cameron, of course, has called an emergency meeting, but that's to deal with the violence right now. I mean, will some shops and businesses on the high street have to close pretty much permanently as a result of this?
I think As it stands, this is relatively localised, and the big name retailers will find the resources to get back into business, and many of them are pushing, even as we speak, to make sure that that happens. Of course, many of them will be insured via one means or another, and although they will undoubtedly have substantial excesses that they will have to meet, so there will be big costs for them, they will get some of the costs of re-establishing themselves back via that route. But certainly for some retailers, and particularly for the smaller ones, you know, they were struggling anyway.
Well, Richard Dodd from the British Retail Consortium, great to talk to you. Thank you so much.